A lot of things change, when you're used to going 200 miles an hour and all of a sudden life has other plans in store for you and you come to a dead stop.
Just before midnight on July 18th, an IED went off behind me, killed my fire team partner. A secondary explosion went off in front of me. The official report says it was a hand grenade off my fire team partner's vest.
I thought I was dying. I was like, my jugular was cut. So when I saw that, I didn't even put a pressure on it. It was like, I just let myself die. So I looked at the sky, it was a great blue sky. I was like, wow, this sky is beautiful, I'm gonna miss it.
When soldiers come back from even if it's an exercise and there was a traumatic accident or an incident, or again, like the Afghanistan campaign, soldiers are changed. A part of them is left over there.
It's tough to look in a former friend's eyes and know that they're there, but you lost them. And I've lost guys that are gone, like they're not coming back. And I've lost guys that are still here and they're still present, but they're not coming back, and it sucks. It really sucks.
No, I want to make my family proud of my service. I want them to, even if I came home in a box, I want them to stand there and be like, what he did because he wanted to go, and we're proud of what he did.
In the heart of the Canadian Rockies, 12 recovering ill and injured soldiers from the Canadian Forces are participating in a mountaineering training camp. It is the first step on a personal journey that will take them halfway around the world to the Himalayas, where in the shadow of the world's highest peak, Mount Everest, they will be pushed to their limits as they attempt to climb the 20,305-foot giant known as Island Peak.
My best wish is to be jobless because there's no more war. This is my biggest wish. Unfortunately, it's not the case. I'm not out yet. I don't know if I'll be out, but many people say you can take a man out of the army, but you cannot pull out the army in front of a man. And sorry, the translation is a little bit bad, but it's the same. It's a passion. We love it. I love it. And I wish I could continue. Even my paralyzed hand, I don't know if I'll be able to continue, but I wish.
I like distraction. It helps keep it real. It's not just sitting in a classroom style learning. You learn that there's always be something out there that will take your mind off stuff. You just gotta keep focused.
Island Peak is the final phase in my 2-year-long journey. Not only my 2-year-long journey, but the 2-year-long journey that my family embarked upon. So. My husband's done 4 hot tours. He's gone to
Cambodia and Yugoslavia. He's been to the Gulf War and Afghanistan. He's got some residual issues that he's also dealing with that we've had to work through as a family. But he's so supportive. He knows how much I believe in my job. I go home sometimes at night and I'm just so emotionally drained because you want to give so much to your troops.
Oh, the way they unfold. The first opportunity, I guess, that I've been able to be able to give back to what I like to call the military family, and the foundation's been able, or is allowing me to do this. So again, I'm pretty stoked about that.
The Soldiers Climbing Expedition to Island Peak is being facilitated by the True Patriot Love Foundation, whose mandate is to raise awareness and funds for recovering Canadian soldiers, with the hope that the expedition will help heal their emotional, mental, and physical wounds.
The soldiers, as they'll tell you, just the fact that they're working together as a team, this is something that they're used to doing as soldiers. And we deploy them all over the world, and they work together as a team. And when you're back from those places, or you're no longer in the forces and you're a veteran, you lose a little something, right? Can I continue to serve? And so not only are they working as a team, not only are they overcoming obstacles, they're working together to serve our country again.
It's going to be a lot of closure. There's a lot of self-doubt when I first got home with my injury. I lost some nerves in that area, so I've wondered, if I go do this march or go do this or that, is it going to flare up? Is it going to cause problems? But I'd like to go challenge it and make sure it's all good to go.
I've always volunteered in my life, and this is a chance to do something great. My dad, my brother, both in the military. This is for them more so than me.
I can say I've been craving something like this since I've been home, and I've been looking forward. I haven't been able to find it yet, so coming here, I finally feel like I'm back within a group that I can really relate to, and yeah, it feels like I'm home again.
Kathmandu, mythical, sweeping, the center of the Himalayan mountaineering universe, and a place where spirituality and reflection burn softly through day-to-day life. It's here that the soldiers will make their last-minute preparations before embarking on the climb. A chance to take stock before the odyssey ahead. Amongst worshippers at morning prayers, they too must make peace with their future and their past.
Everybody comes home from a trauma different, and whether you're a policeman, a fireman, or even just an average everyday person, And I mean, average everyday people are the best in the world because they're who we all want to be. I mean, regardless whether we wear a soldier's uniform or a firefighter's uniform, yeah, we want to be able to hang up the uniform and just walk out into the community and just be normal.
The expedition team arrives at the airport to take a small mountain aircraft from Kathmandu to the remote high Himalayas, where their trek to Island Peak will begin. The 50-minute trip is considered one of the world's most beautiful, yet dangerous journeys. The flight traverses the lush Nepali foothills and skims several high passes before the dramatic descent onto one of the world's shortest commercial runways.
Really want to push myself to the test.
to make sure that prove that I can still up and do this kind of thing, and just being here to be able to help get everybody else up to the top. Everyone else who's still fighting the battle, like myself.
My ACL ligaments have been repaired. I have next to no meniscus left. So there were times yesterday where I thought, wow, if this is day one, it's going to really push me to get to the top.
Over the course of 21 days, the soldiers will march 150 kilometers and gain over 16,000 feet in elevation from their starting point in Kathmandu. How their bodies adapt to this increase in altitude is critical. The terrain is grueling for even the fittest of individuals. But for the soldiers, they must contend with the additional burden of pre-existing injuries.
I'm feeling great. Yeah, really, really good. No problems with my pelvis or my femur, so that's good. That's what I was worried about.
Rosanna Mandy calls her small horse farm outside of Ottawa home. Married with 2 sons, Ethan and Everest, she is the section commander of a support center for wounded soldiers and their families. Rosanna has first-hand insight into the struggles of the soldiers she counsels, having badly injured her pelvis and femur in a training accident in 2010.
We go through a lot of tissue where I work. I try not to, but it's pretty hard for soldiers that come in. Many of them haven't worn their uniforms in a long time, some of them a year, 2 years. They just can't. For whatever reason, a lot of times they don't feel like they're worthy, that they don't deserve to wear the uniform anymore because their bodies aren't whole or their minds aren't whole. I know I had a really hard time putting mine on. I try to maintain a professional relationship. Try not to talk too much about my own personal injuries, aside from just saying that I've been on the other side of the desk and that I do sympathize and I can feel empathy. I'm thinking I've got a lot of days to think and to strive to find that balance that I'm searching for. So I'm thinking that I'll probably dedicate one day to all of the special people in my life.
For Frank Duperret and Peter Bersev, the Island Peak climb is another thread that binds their friendship. Both Montrealers, both born on the same day, both decorated war veterans, and both blown up by suicide bombers.
I remember that specific day when Frank got hit. We were on patrol. We heard over our computer system that 2 Canadians were injured in Talocan. And I was worried. I didn't know if it was Frank or not, but at the same time, I knew it was him. I even thought for a split second, I said, no, I don't see myself carrying his coffin, because I knew that if he was dead or if he was gonna die of those injuries, I'd had to do that. And I said, no, this is not gonna happen.
He's the only other guy that I know that went through a suicide bomber attack. So, and he got injured also, so yeah, maybe like he's the kind of guy that would understand what I go through. I know it's create bonds that you won't live with, even friends that you have forever. It's in the civilian. You don't live like such intense feelings with those guys. You spend 6 months in a row, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day with those guys. You know them by heart.
You know what? Frank told me something, and I absolutely agree with it. He said, if what happened had to happen, it had to happen to me, to Frank, because he said that he knew that it wasn't going to affect him negatively.
Was always like a smile on my face. You'll never remove that smile. Even when I'll die, I have a grin on my face. Montage.
All right.
joie de vivre. I mean, joy of life. I mean, my philosophy in life is like never regretting something. Because I know that I will die someday. It could be tomorrow. It could be in 2 minutes. It could be right after this interview. I get hit by a car. So I just want to make sure that the moment I will die, I won't have any regrets. That's how I live. I want to live like that.
The ancient trading village of Namche Bazaar sits in a natural amphitheater at an altitude of 11,300 feet. Once the crossroads of nomadic Tibetan salt traders and Kathmandu spice merchants, it has been the heart of Himalayan commerce in the area for over 400 years. It has been 60 years since Sir Edmund Hillary first walked its narrow cobblestone streets, and Namche Bazaar still remains the gateway for all mountaineering expeditions who intend climbing in the Everest region. For the soldiers, it's an opportunity to pick up final supplies while walking in the great man's footsteps. Day 4 of the expedition brings the soldiers to the remote Buddhist monastery in Tengboche. Surrounded by the towering Himalayas, it is a sacred site for the Sherpa people, whose mountain culture is synonymous with their religion. Within the private sanctum of the Tengboche Monastery, the Island Peak expedition team attends a private puja under the watchful eye of the head lama. The ceremony is a traditional blessing of safe passage in the mountains and a sign of respect and good karma within the Sherpa culture.
We just experienced something amazing back there. We were at a puja, and then they also blessed us on our journey and to provide us protection and safety. And I used to believe in maybe there was something, and I still maybe to this day believe that there is something greater out there. There is fate, but it only takes you so far, and then it's up to the individual person in order to take it the rest of the way.
When I got hurt, people brought me books when I was in the hospital. And one of the books that they brought me was called The Art of Happiness. And I read it in the mornings, and it brought a lot of peace to me and the philosophy of cultivating happiness and pursuing happiness.
If I had to choose a religion, I think I would choose Buddhism. If you read what the Dalai Lama says, it's pretty amazing. It's about spirituality, about love, about loving life, and that's what I believe in. was distributing books, school books for kids. They didn't like it, so they tried to end up that program by killing me. But you know what? This guy, he had his belief. I have mine. Picked up the wrong guy. He tried to kill me. He just made me stronger. That's all he did, making me stronger.
David MacDonald was critically injured in Afghanistan in a vehicle rollover. Amongst his myriad of injuries, he bruised 80% of his frontal lobe. Having no memory of the incident, he returned to his love of writing as a way of making sense of what happened to him while on duty, and to manage the anger he felt post-tour.
It's a very common thing in the CF when guys deploy and come back that their relationships end, and it could be they've been married for a year, it could be they've been married for 15 years, but it's a completely different dynamic when they get home, and no, they just can't get back to the way it was. You're a different person when you come home, and that person you're with is a different person when you come home. It's almost like starting from scratch. It was the divorce actually that really kickstarted my writing again, because I was I was in a really bad place during that time, and I needed to just get things out. I was even more pissed off than I was when I first came home during that time.
When soldiers come home, and I think too many people wave it off as, oh, that's just life, or that's just the way it is, rather than looking to the root of the problem and seeing if that soldier really needs some assistance or some help psychologically dealing with what they went through and what they've seen.
When I started having kids, I'd come back and I'd take a step back, I'd sit and I'd watch what my wife was doing with the children, and I'd actually try to slide my way into the family instead of just barging in and changing everything the family's been doing for 6 months. I'd just sit back and watch to learn how she does it. That way it isn't such a massive ripple in life.
I still go hang out with a good buddy I was overseas with. 2 years later, all we talk about is tour. And anyone who come with us, they all tell us, like, you guys are still over there. You haven't come home yet.
Towards the end of the first week of the expedition, the soldiers have bonded. In the coming days, however, the elevation increases, and so will the pressure. For soldiers, the possibility of death is an everyday reality, just as it is for mountaineers. Above the village of Dougla is a cluster of stone cairns, a somber memorial ground to the fallen climbers of Mount Everest. They are a sobering reminder of man's mortality and the risks involved in attempting Island Peak.
When I was dying, I thought I was dying in Afghanistan. In a certain way, I was happy. I had a good life, I had a great life, and I was dying doing something I liked. For me, that's it. This is mortality.
It certainly brings everything into perspective about Everest and the whole area, climbing, how dangerous it is, how exhilarating and a rush it is, but how quickly things can change and go wrong.
This place, to be commemorated here, it's probably one of the most beautiful places that I've ever been to, let alone probably one of the most beautiful places that exist in this world. Mortality kind of meets like immortality here. Land meets the sky. It's like a big cycle of life here. Can't think of a better place to think of them, the ones that are here and the ones that have passed away, than where we are amidst memorials of some of the world's greatest climbers, Canadians and internationals. So that's for Grandpa Mandy, RSM, previous service, amazing guy, passed away a bit ago.
People are afraid of death because they don't know what it is. But who knows? No one knows. So maybe death is actually better than life. So, you know, that's a mentality that also helped me go through what I lived in Afghanistan, trying to understand why me, why not the others. It's just faith, destiny, whatever you want to call it.
Record. So here we are in a town called Gorge, Chef. Yeah, just behind you there, that mountain there straight in the clouds, just sticking its head out. Well, some people call that Mount Everest. Anyway, it's the tallest one in the world. It's kind of neat. We're heading to a space camp over there, and then afterwards, we're going to go climb up this thing for a better view. That's Calapatar over there.
The summit of Kalapatar is the last acclimatizing training goal for the soldiers before their attempt on Island Peak. The Himalayas are starting to show their teeth, with 100-kilometer-an-hour winds, and the physical effects of high altitude beginning to take their toll.
Like the highest stats I've hit is 93, and even down back in Vancouver, if you're setting 93 near sea level, you're getting oxygen. It's just that's what you need. But apparently up here, it's perfectly normal. It's just the way the altitude goes. So.
O2 sat this morning was 81, and it's gone down as low as 74. And home, that's emergency.
A minute ago, I got some pain in my inner ear, on the right side.
You gonna push ahead?
I'm gonna try. Just want to rest for a second and see if it feels better.
I have to deal with it. So that's why I kept always the morale, because what can you do? Life is so short. If I start to just cry about what happens to me, there's two ways to see it. Either you see the good way, I still have one arm, one eye, so I can see my kids growing. I have one hand, I can touch them, I can, put them to bed. That's why I like all this. With one eye, I can see all this. It's enough. I don't need to.
And my team. I love my team too.
Woo! Let's go! Holy stuff!
Way oh, 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 took away my gin rum.
Like a lot of new troops, when they go over, they come back with a pocket full of money and no real reason to save it. So I paid off a few bills and then I partied a lot of it away. There were guys that came home and they didn't have that family support network, which again, to me, I think is the most important. You're grounded at home and everything else, and if you don't have that support, then yeah, you're going to turn to other avenues, unfortunately.
The guy drinking alone or the girl drinking alone or the person punching walls or yelling at the wind, but how do you reach out to them? And especially if you knew them before, that's the key part. Like, And the worst part is you treat them normal sometimes. And I mean, that's exactly what they want to be. But for someone going through something, sometimes when you treat them normal, they really hate you because they think you're lying to them.
A physical injury is, it's almost like it's verified, it's validified. And a lot of the soldiers that come into my office, you know, by the time I'm done the interview, I'm finding that, you know, their alcohol or drug use is off the charts and out of control, and there's family issues, and like I said, I've had that in my own home life.
Everybody goes through trauma, and I mean, whether you're military or not, trauma, like, it's tough to fight someone's demons in their head. I mean, that's why you have professionals for that. Hardest part is getting them to the professional.
I do see how someone could slip into addiction, having been in a lot of pain for a long time. Medications can lead to one thing to the next thing. You know, before you know it, the house is on the line, the family's fallen apart. We're trying to pool together resources to keep soldiers in their houses, and it can be devastating.
I mean, what's going in their head? I don't know. In my head, something may be different. That's what's going on in their head, and I'm not on their head, so it's pretty hard to say. But yeah, some people will go with the bottle, some people will go with drugs, some people will quit the army after one tour because they don't fit in that pattern anymore. It's sad, but it's like this.
I've seen, and I've done it myself, you burn out friends. Like, when you start dumping on people, you really start burning them out, and it's tough. But yeah, I mean, I hope that with this, there's, like, I gotta tell you, there was times there I would have loved to have a phone number just to call, because you can only burn people out so much. Like, I'm sorry. I don't want to fucking think about this shit at all.
After establishing camp at 15,500 feet at the base of Island Peak, the soldiers brace themselves for what will be an epic 2-day ascent to the top. Their plan is to pitch a bivouac camp 3,000 feet higher up the mountain by the end of the first day. From this alpine perch, they will set off early the next morning on a final push for success. As bodies move forward, minds look back.
I'm pretty far away right now. I am thinking of my family. They're behind me every step of the way, almost pushing me up the mountains, but I gotta stay focused on the objective. It's a greater purpose than mine alone to get up there.
I got to use the satellite phone yesterday and talk to my husband. And he said, every step you take, when you feel like you can't go any further, we're right behind you, helping you push forward. And I know they are, I can feel it. So, yeah, I miss home.
For 4:25. We didn't sleep very good. It was very cold, but doesn't matter. I mean, we're here for one goal, and
we're done.
The peak.
Porridge. Good energy.
Anxious, worried, but...
Yeah, if you pan the camera back in the back there hanging up by the sunglasses, is their knee braces too?
Yeah, I'm definitely out of my comfort zone, but like Michelle said, one boot in front of the next.
With the dawn of summit day, a final set of challenges awaits the soldiers. It will be a lung-bursting exercise in negotiating rock walls and crevasse-strewn snowfields, before they face Island Peak's notorious near vertical head wall and Summit Ridge.
It's easier to go farther when you have something to focus on. If we don't have that common enemy to fight and surpass, we're going aimlessly. So we don't come together as a team as well if we don't have that common goal.
Michelle and I were talking in the tent the other night. I think I'm like 16 months since my last big surgery, and Michelle's got one coming up in November? So to even be here, like, pretty cool.
Once you've spent time in the military, it's a family, and it never leaves your soul, really. It's like we've served together anywhere with this group. It's actually really inspiring.
There's the head wall. Almost straight up. Yeah. Okay. Piece of cake.
Every time going uphill, all of a sudden you're really short of breath. And I don't think it really matters how fit you are. You just start to get out of breath because you're not getting as much oxygen in. But you just gotta hunker down and rely on, mindset that you can do this.
This is tougher than it looks. How's it feeling? This is the hardest thing I've ever done.
What has been hard is I've been hospitalized for 3 months, and I was in shape. Then I went to rock bottom. So climbing back to get in shape again is pretty hard.
It reminds me of when we were in Afghanistan. It's the same things. It's an adrenaline rush, it's team spirit, and it's getting to the top no matter what. I just can't imagine myself not being on top of that mountain. I prefer to die.
As the expedition team breaks the 19,000-foot barrier and makes the final push to the summit, Michelle has fallen behind. Her oxygen levels have plummeted into the danger zone, and she can't continue. She must go down to base camp, where, as a precautionary measure, a helicopter will take her to a lower altitude.
As a team, out as a team, that's what it's about. And were you to ask any one of us, we'd say the same thing. There's nothing that could have made me leave one of my fellow soldiers in a state of vulnerability.
Hey Ethan, it's Mommy. Sometimes it's more important to stick together as a team. And when one or two people aren't well, then that's the priority. So I didn't get all the way up to the top, but I got almost all the way up to the top. And that's all that matters. So I love you and thanks.
It's, I didn't get the check in the box technically, but I feel in my soul that I did. I summited with my teammates.
I was surprised that I didn't get sick before. And then, like that last kilometer just before, everything just went for crap. It's one of the worst things is, you know, you start with them. I remember getting off the plane with them, and you just want to finish with them. I just wish I didn't have to leave.
Over there, I'm gonna reach it, even if I have to crawl with my nails. I'm too stubborn. I'm too stubborn.
The rest of the soldier team pushes their minds and bodies past 20,000 feet, along a knife-edge ridge with a 1,000-foot drop on either side. Surrounded by the highest mountains on Earth, the summit of Island Peak is finally within reach.
We couldn't even imagine ourselves being here without one each other.
It's a moral sport, and it's a really good moral sport that, because, you know,
I think I worked through a lot of issues just hanging out with the guys here, actually. That's the old saying, you're not alone, you know, and I'm really happy that I was able to push my injury to the limits and still be able to walk off the hill. Oh, it meant a lot. To put it in words, that's a different story.
A year and a half ago, I couldn't breathe by myself. Look at me now, with friends, climbing Island Peak. And we all did it. We all got injured. We all got injured, and we all did it. So it's just a proof that when you want something, you can get it. That's the proof.
Next on Murdoch Mysteries.
You ready? I'm the boss.
Someone was looking for something.
Who's the bloke dressed as Sherlock Holmes? He claims to be Sherlock Holmes.
Murdoch Mysteries, next on CBC. Tuesday on an all-new Cracked.
First step is a killer.
A troubled musician surrounded by lies.
You don't know what's good for you. Sometimes goes off his meds.
A deadly mistake, but who is responsible? Clay Bennett guest stars in Cracked, Tuesday at 9 on CBC. Wednesdays. Buckle up as the adventure continues. All new episodes of Arctic Air, Wednesdays at 9 on CBC. Murdoch Mysteries starts now on CBC. Available in described video.